What is up, Hardcore Nation? It's Hardcore Christopher here, and where have I been? You guys have not heard from me or seen me for 5 days. My last video was of Will Smith slapping the bejeebus out of Chris Rock. Well, sit back, relax, pop some popcorn, eat it, smoke a joint if you want, if that's your thing. Let's get right into this, because this is a doozy of a story. Okay, so Monday, I felt fine. Monday night, I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom. And I clogged up the toilet. So I took it upon myself to try to unclog the toilet, and I was moving it a little bit. But I stayed in the bathroom for an hour and a half. And I didn't get it unclogged. I went to bed. So after I went to bed, I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm only running on 6 hours of sleep. My granny kept on asking me if I felt okay, if I felt fine. And I kept on answering her, yes, I do. So Tuesday is going good. I ran the vacuum cleaner. I fixed me some breakfast. I ate it. And I started to fix dinner, which we were having frozen pizza. Now, this is where things go black, and I had to have people explain it to me. Okay, so around 5:30, I open some boxes of Tony's Pizza that you can buy at Walmart, and I put them on pizza pans. Put one on the top rack, put one on the bottom rack, and baked them for 24 minutes. And that's the last thing I remember, honestly. My granny who was sitting in her chair in the family room, she hears a thud. A loud thud. And she yells my name. Usually when she yells my name, I answer. And I didn't answer. So she gets up and she's wondering where I am. And she's headed up towards the kitchen. And she sees my feet on the ground. From what I understand, I must have been laying on my bed like I am now, and I rolled off. Either that, or I was standing and I fell. But I think if I was standing and I fell, because I fell face first, I would have a lot more injuries than just a bruised knee. Well, a scathed knee, not a bruised knee. Um, but she gets my sister up. My sister asks her, does she want her to call an ambulance? And Granny said no. So she called. So my neighbors start coming over and helping, which I do have to thank all my neighbors. Thank you. Um, she she they were trying to get me to talk, but I wasn't talking. So my sister was looking at the way I was breathing. This is, since she's in the healthcare field, she knew by the way I was breathing I needed an ambulance and I needed it now. Um so the ambulance gets called, they come out, no lights, no nothing because it wasn't necessary. And the paramedics come in and and, and they transport me in a sheet to the back of the ambulance, and there was a woman in the back of the ambulance saying, I'll take good care of her. I'll take good care of her. Comforting my granny because she must have been as white as a ghost. Or, so, from how I understand it, she must have been as white as a ghost. Now in the ambulance, from what I know and from what I understand, I must have came to during the ambulance ride. Either that or I must have came to right at the tail end when we got to Freeman. Because because uh well, let me back up. So I'm headed down to I'm headed into Joplin to go to Freeman, and everybody's behind me. My aunt's behind me. My mom is literally tailgating the ambulance to the point that the ambulance driver had to stop and pull over and get out and tell my mom to slow down. Look, Mama, I love you. I love you to death. But please do not tailgate a ambulance or anything else for that matter. It is not worth it. I'm still your son, yes, but I'm still I am still. But I don't want. I don't want. I don't want anybody else to die on account of your stupidity. Thank you very much. Um. Now, with that being said, my aunt was behind the ambulance. My granny was behind the ambulance. My sister, who has a little tiny, well, not so tiny, but she has a blue Prius that was whipping in and out of traffic to keep up with the ambulance. Everybody was in a mad dash towards Freeman Hospital. Now, from what I understand, the ambulance gets to Freeman and they want to do an MRI, they want to do everything, but I just wasn't cooperating. Every time they'd stick me inside the MRI, I would throw up. They uh, they did do a COVID test. I don't know why, because I was in that ambulance for about, from what I understand, an hour or so. and they jammed a Q-tip up my nose, and the test came back negative. So they couldn't get me to do what they wanted me to do, which was the MRI, because every single time I would go into the MRI, I'd get sick. So I get into a Freeman room. I was in room 482, and from how my granny tells it, I was giving her all sorts of issues because I was taken off the hospital robe. I was just out of my mind. My mom was the first in the room, and she was standing there, and I didn't recognize her. And she walked out, and she said, and she told my aunt, he didn't recognize me. Well, my aunt and granny came in, and I go, there's my Aunt Bessie, there's my granny. And then my mom came in, and I go, look what the cat dragged in. So, in the morning, I woke up, and immediately, I would say almost immediately, nurses and techs came into my room, and they started asking me today's date. So I told them November 31st, 2022. Your name, Christopher Dale Box. Who's the president? An idiot named Biden. So, the first day I was at Freeman, I got blood taken. I was taken off of my fluids that very day. And I had an EKG, which is where they place like 25 wires on your head and they look at your brain. It's not as in depth as an MRI is. So I get the EKG and everything, and they take the wires off my head. Oh, for breakfast, I will say this. Hospital food has come a long way, but hospital food doesn't compare to homemade food. But for my hospital breakfast, the first day, I had nothing but fluid. Basically, hot chicken broth. Um, now for now for dinner, it was some sort of Italian chicken dish. It was good. So, oh, and I have to pee into a urinal. So every time I would pee into a urinal, I would have to uh, call the desk up and say, my urinal needs to be emptied, or my uh, my pee needs to be emptied, or my urine needs to be emptied. And when I and sometimes I would say urine or pee depending on who I got, because there would be people that would that I would go, my urine needs to be emptied, and they'd be like, what? And then I would switch. I go, my pee needs to be emptied. Okay, I'll send some. I'll let them know. Okay. Now let me get to the things that I didn't like about my hospital stay. First and foremost, I had an alarm on my bed that if I accidentally got up, if there was no staff, which I completely understand because I was completely out of it. I was discombobulated and everything like that. I was confused. I completely understand why they had a board in my room, and the board said I needed assist times one, so one assistant. So that's the reason why I had to pee into a urinal and, and everything of that nature. Well, it was my first night there. I accidentally kicked the table that was in my room, and the alarm starts to go off, and the person at the desk goes, is there any staff? And my mom goes, no, he just kicked the table accidentally. So the alarm goes off. So the alarm shuts off, and so then I accidentally get up out. No, I accidentally get off my bed, and the alarm goes off. But this time I think it's a nurse. It's either a nurse or a tech. I think it was a nurse. Uh, a staff member. She came in and she shut it off because she was right next door and she could hear it. Thank God. Another thing that I didn't like. Look, I understand that the nurses and techs are making their rounds, but when I'm sleeping and those hospital beds are not comfortable one iota, when I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. Don't wake me up, please. But I had a nurse come in at 3:30 in the morning and said, "Chris," and I'm groggy, and I look up. I go, "Yeah, it's time to check your vitals." I go, "What time is it?" "It's 3:30 in the morning right now. It's too early for this." So she checks my blood pressure. 30 minutes later, another staff member comes in and goes, "I need to draw a little bit of blood from you." I go, so I go, "Okay." So the blood, which was only about 4 cc's of blood, so it wasn't that much. So the blood she drew, I just started making my hand into a fist, and I started to go, and I started to tell her, maybe if I make my hand into a fist, this will all be over shortly and I can go back to sleep. And she goes, "Don't do that, you'll blow out your vein." Oh, okay. So the second day went pretty fast. Well, I forgot something about the first day. The first day, a member of our church came up and visited, and I also met the physical therapy guy. So I did get a little bit of exercise. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So now, so let's go to the second day. The second day goes, I laid in bed. where the first day I was in bed, but I also spent almost the entire day in a chair that they had in my room. So the second day, I got to go home. But let me show you my medication. I know you guys can't see it. I have to take this for my gut. And I have to take this for my seizure medicine. That they determined that I had a seizure. First time I've had a seizure in my life, according to my recollection. My mom says I've had them when I was younger, but I don't remember them. I remember my sister having seizures when she was younger, but so they determined that I had a seizure, and I know exactly what happened. So do you remember what I said at the beginning when I was in the bathroom plunging a hole through the toilet? Well, I never unlocked the bathroom door and I never opened the bathroom door. So I was sweating. I was sweating profusely. I was hot. I took off my shirt. That got me a little cooler, and I started wiping the sweat off of my forehead. Well, all that the seizure was from over exhaustion. I overdid it, in other words, which caused me to go into a seizure. So that's what they determined from the MRI. And now my granny is asking me about every 5 minutes if I feel okay. And I keep on telling her yes. And I finally told her, you have to lay off. I I don't know how this is going to affect like mowing and picking up after the 10 trees that we have, but I will always have my phone on me now, on, even when it's charging like it is now, simply because if something like that does happen again, I I can get a hold of somebody before it gets to the point where I have to go to the hospital. Who knows? This may be a one and done situation, but I'm not taking the chance. I do have a. I do have a doctor's appointment. I think on the tail end of April, so I think it's like the 28th. Yes, the 28th of April. And until then, I really don't know except to take my gut medicine and to take all the rest of my medicine. So, my vitamin C, my B12, my iron, my seizure, and my gut medicine, which my seizure medicine I have to take twice a day, and my gut medicine I only have to take once daily. Um, so yeah, that's where I've been. I've been in the hospital because I was an idiot. That's the best I can. That's the best I can put it, really. I overdid it, and that caused me to go into a seizure and go into the hospital. But everyone was nice, even though I didn't like the hospital bed. I didn't especially like getting woke up at 3:30 in the morning. And now I have medication for seizures that are necessary. So, as long as I don't overexert myself, I will be fine. I'm Hardcore Christopher. I hope you all enjoyed. Keep it hardcore, everyone.